Hey people, I'm going to show you. I like using these different things from the videos. There's one guy says, hey people, you know, he's the one that has that, he's always spearfishing, and I got my free range sailing shirt on. Of course I'm not doing sailing anymore, but anyways, listen, today we're going to talk about setting up your depth finder and anchoring. And it's real simple. I'm going to reduce it to the lowest common denominator. There's a lot of ways to do this. You'll see people coming up with mathematical formulas and depth sounder, depth, you know, the transducer depth and all this blah, 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 whatever. I'm going to tell you straightforward, easy LCD, lowest common denominator, so it's easy to do. Here's your boat. And here's your boot stripe. Okay? Here's the sailboat. Of course, we're on trawler life now. All you have to do is the next time you haul your boat is measure from your boot stripe to the bottom of your boat using one of these things. You lay it there so it's very accurate and measure that distance. Okay? That is the amount of water your boat needs to float. Once you establish that fact, the next step is very easy when your boat is in the water. Now, one thing I want to say, I'm going to show you how to adjust how to check that. I anchor where it's comfortable, and I don't worry about, if I have a foot of water underneath the keel, I'm good. I've been boating for a long time, and I see tons of people who are just absolutely afraid to get into nice calm anchorages because they want 10, 15, 20, more than 10, more like 20 to 30 feet under their boat. I anchor in normally 10 feet of water or less, because if I ever have to dive on my anchor, that expensive 150-pound Mantis that I have, I want to be able to do it on a breath hold and get down there. If you're in 30, 40 feet of water, it's going to be hard to get that anchor out if it's stuck under something. Now, some places, you know, obviously I'm talking about in situations where you don't have a choice. If you don't have a choice and it's deep water, well, that's the way it is. But normally, we're going to talk today about how to set up your depth finder, how to measure the distance, and take into account the tide so that all of you guys that are out there rocking and rolling in these miserable places can follow me and actually feel comfortable. How's that sound? Okay, here we go. That's the lunch bell. So you get your little thing. Once you've established how much draft your boat needs, this is a 50-foot trawler. It drafts 5 feet of water to the boot stripe. Now the boot stripe's a little bit above the water, so I'm giving myself about 5 inches of margin of error, but 5 feet is what this boat needs to float. So now, before I set up my depth finder to have it read what my depth is, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see what the water depth is. I'm gonna take this thing, I run it down till it hits. Now as soon as it hits, I can see roughly where that string is. So I'll take and I'll put a knot, one of these knots, and I'll put it back down there. Boom. It's about a few inches too short, so let's take it out. Go just a little bit more. Okay, we'll try it again. Okay, there it is, within an inch, close enough. Then I will take this, I'll measure the length of this string. That'll tell me how deep this water is. Okay, once I know how deep this water is, we'll go to the depth finder and we'll set it up. Here we go. Okay, I measured that string. I know the depth of the water where I am right now is 11 feet of water. Now here's where the tricky part comes in. You want your depth finder to read, if you're hitting the bottom, 0. Now, if you're a little squeamish, you can give it an extra foot. And the reason I tell you this, if you set your depth finder to what the actual depth is, which is 6 and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 feet of depth, roughly, whatever, 12 something. Let's say 13 for argument's sake. The mathematician behind the camera has corrected me. If you set your thing for what the depth of the water is, that's fine. But when you're in a situation where you have to anchor and you're moving around and you have a lot of stuff going on, you got a guy working the anchor, you got someone working the engines, and you're trying to maneuver this thing into position, You need to know what's under your keel, because that's all that matters. I don't care if it's 100 feet. If you got a 90-foot draft boat and it's 100 feet of water, you got 10 feet under your keel. And the reason I reduced this number to the what's under the boat is because it's very simple. It'll save your marriage. When you can ask your honey, how deep is the water? And she says 6 feet, as you can see here, that means you're 6 feet under your boat. You're okay. If she says 2 feet, then you know you're getting close. Straight up. You don't need to know it's 13 and do the math. So when this thing reads 0, I'm on the bottom. It's that simple, guys. Nothing to figure out. So, of course, each unit is set up differently. You have to set the offset on it, up and down. But the bottom line is you want your depth finder to read what's under your keel, period. You can give yourself a foot of leeway. I would suggest that, just in case, because sometimes the bottom changes quickly. But basically, you want this number to read what's under your boat, not what the actual depth of the water is. Straight up. You know, one of the only other things is if other boaters are coming in and they're asking you how deep the water is because they want to anchor and their draft is different, then of course you know, I already know that I add 5 feet to the system, and that's the actual depth, roughly. So, the other thing this thing does, it's not on it that right now, but it shows me the actual depth on a different screen of the water and the offset. So it used to show both. Right now it says 6 feet of water and 6 feet. That's to the transducer. It used to be set up so I could actually see the actual depth of the water, and this number used to display what's under the keel. But I futzed with this thing and I can't figure out how to do it again. So that doesn't matter to me. I want one number. I want to stay with my girlfriend. I want a long marriage, happy house, happy wife, happy boat, happy life. That's pretty much that. I just want to throw something up. We have departed San Francisquito. No, wait, I'm sorry, Santa Rosalia. We're back heading north. We're going to put the boat on the hard and then go back to Sweet Pea again and do some more adventures on Sweet Pea. So we bounce back and forth between the two boats. And that's what's up lately, guys. The fishing's been good. We caught some Dorado. We caught a tuna. I caught a tuna about this big, but I had to give half of it to Nemo because something bit the thing down to this size, and that was a big bite. But that's what's going on lately. Life has been good, guys. Enjoy talking to you, hearing from you. Love your comments. And that's pretty much it. That's how you set your depth, and that's how you go about anchoring. Thanks. One thing I forgot to add after that rant there for a little bit was how to set your anchor and how to find the right spot to anchor. Once you establish your depth and what you can do, and you know it's accurate, what's under the keel and all that stuff, I love watching people anchor. They do this thing called the dog poop. You ever see a dog when it wants to take a dump? He goes round and round and round and round. He picks his tail up and around a couple more times, then maybe one more round, and then maybe another more round, and then one more round, and then it thinks about it, then it moves a few inches, then it takes a dump, then it moves again and dumps, right? Some people anchor the way dogs crap. Unbelievable. Dude, it's bad form. You want to, and by the way, I know that anchoring, this topic is a hot topic, and if you anchor poorly, it's like picking a marriage poorly. You're going to pay your girlfriend. So you want to do this right. I've been doing this forever. Don't forget that back in the days when I was a boat mechanic and people would say, my boat dies after 20 minutes of running. Me and my friend Doug, we'd go out there on the boats, and we always had an anchor ready to stop the boat when the problem happened, because we had to duplicate the problem. So we'd be out there and we'd be stuck, and we'd fix it out there on the water. We carried our tools and stuff. So anchoring is important. It's a way to stop the boat and get things sorted out. And it's very simple when you're looking for an anchorage along a shoreline. It's so easy. Here's what you do. Let's say this is the shore right here. And this is a little cove like that. This is a cove. And you want to anchor inside here. And let's say this is 1 foot of water and this is 30 feet of water. Okay? All you have to do is, since I anchor in 10 feet of water, and I need 5-to-1 scope, that's what I like to use, I need 50 feet of chain. So I know that I'm going to be 50 feet strung out if the chain was straight. Of course it's not, there's some canting area and stuff like that. But basically 50 is a good safety margin. So here's what I do, and it always works, and I don't look like a dog with diarrhea, okay? I hope you like my politically incorrect statements. All I do, let's say I want to go here. I drive straight in. I watch my depth finder. When my depth finder says 6 feet, I'm done. I, at that point, turn around. I'm looking at the chart plotter. I go out 50 to 75 feet. Throw my anchor down and back down on it, or you can do it in forward, however you want to do it. Sometimes I'll set the anchor in forward, doesn't matter. Once that anchor's set, I am never going to drift in on that shallow spot. If there's reefs, then I might do a circle and then go to that spot. But that's all you have to do to establish a safe distance from shore to where you're not going to end up on the rocks. And you'd be surprised how something so simple, so straightforward, and so easy to do, and so necessary for the life of a boater, how many people can't do that? But that's why there's great failure videos, Fail Army, and you can watch these people duking it out and fighting and yelling and all this stuff. It's amazing. I might add to this, my girlfriend and I, we don't communicate by shouting or yelling when we're anchoring. We use hand signs, because hand signs are perfect. No matter how loud it is, how much wind's blowing, it's straight up. Now, just if you want to know what they are, this means both engines reverse, both engines forward, twist, power up, neutral. That's all there is to it. So when we're going to an anchor, I'm up front. I drop the anchor. I'll tell her back. She puts it in reverse. If she needs more power, I'll go like this, power up. She powers up. Then I'll go like this, power down, because the boat has this momentum. When I see the anchor setting, I'll say hold. That means throw it in neutral. I'll set the bridle. I'll watch everything. And then this, we're done. And it's artwork. People look at us and go, holy cow, I guess you've done this a few times. Well, she's been with me 5 years anchoring. I anchored her heart, and she's been anchoring my boat. Win-win.